give everyone a second to add things to the agenda. But while we're doing that, is there any update regarding graduation? I know you're messing with something else right now, Joe, but if there's anything else that you want to tell us.
Yeah, and actually, yeah, and I think I just got the live stream working again. Um, yeah, so actually some good progress on graduation. Hold on. Sorry, I was getting an echo from the live stream. Um, so the CNCF, I guess, coordinator for our graduation process reached out and she's set up, Terrence and I have a meeting, I think next Tuesday as sort of a kickoff. So I think she's sort of in charge of um, managing the whole program or process around graduation. So kickoff will be Tuesday. I don't think there's any other action items other than just making sure we have some of our, things in place that we already knew we had to get fixed, like the live streaming.
Awesome. Well, thanks for that. YouTube live streaming. Uh, yeah, fixed. Cool. Thanks. If there's any steps that we have to take every time to do that, uh, maybe we need to put those either in this doc or in
It's
the
so what's going to end up happening is I think we'll be able to use our personal accounts.
nice. Okay,
But yeah, I'll
perfect.
definitely document it once it's
All right. Yeah, I don't
figured
think I
out.
have a personal account yet, but I can definitely make one with like, Google or, Salesforce or whatever you want me to do. So
Yep, I'll keep you all posted.
awesome. Next item on the agenda I added spec releases. So we're still waiting on for now starting to block the next version of Lifecycle because Lifecycle already merged in some O.15 code paths, anticipating the spec releases for platform O15, and I think it's O.11 or 12 for build pack API.
It's 12 for build packs and then 15 for platform. Those finalized PRs are up if you want to review them, Jesse.
Awesome, great. I will do that. I will put that under here.
It's in the thread I think that you asked me about the PRs.
There's been like five of those over the last month, so yeah, I'll check one of those and see and find it. Uh, Thanks. Yeah, so hopefully I will cut a lifecycle release once those land with O.15 support, and I think that brings us execution environments as well as system build packs in O.15 as far as the platform is concerned. There's probably some other build pack related spec changes as well, but
Yeah.
just to kind of highlight the major releases that I'm aware of. Someone wants to bring up something? Let's click
Yeah,
it.
I
See
mean,
what.
yeah, it's basically because someone was asking during this week on Pack regarding these annotations, right, to be included. And I remembered that Sam create there is an open RFC with that discussion regarding adding those uh, annotations in the final application image. And I believed the problem at that time was, you know, that the daemon and the registry behave differently.
Yeah.
So we were thinking on, okay, how we're gonna do this. Then we thought on removing daemon, and then that thing just stopped it there. Uh, so they're asking about it, and I don't know if it makes sense to revisit that RFC and the discussion related about if we want to have like different output images when we are working locally with the
Yeah.
daemon or we're working remotely with the registry or OCR layout format, which is the other export
Yeah.
mode.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I know
I don't
you
know.
mentioned in here that Docker has changed quite a bit with their storage format being
Yeah,
OCI compatible now. Do you know if annotations
I
are supported?
I can take a look,
Okay.
and yeah, I can take a look, and I think the next step will be how much OCI capable is the daemon looking now, or I don't
Yeah.
know. And I believe that will be like the insight we will need to make a decision. So if that's more or less what everybody has in their minds, I'm okay to on trying to research about it. I don't know if anyone else remembers something about that RFC from Sam, but I believe I checking it that
Yeah.
the discussion was on that purpose. That RFC was already approved, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
A bunch of people already approves it.
Yeah. But it was
I don't
drafted,
know why
merged.
we
Yeah.
didn't merge it.
Yeah.
I can't remember actually.
Yeah.
I think Emily had a blocking comment that relied on basically the demon removal.
Okay. And at the end of the day, we didn't remove the demon cell.
Uh, I think isn't the demon thing that makes it OCI compatible require you to use a different format for Docker?
It's very likely. Yeah, that's kind of what I was like you probably
That
have to use containerd storage, but they may have implemented it in a way where that's not true. Like they may have also added on a way to support this um, from the outside. I'm not sure.
because I think it's a pretty big breaking change thing from the existing ones. And if you're using containerd under the hood, you can't see any of your existing images
Yep.
when you set the flag.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you
You
want
can't.
some,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
like two different storage, right? When you
yeah,
use the container D and the other one. That's correct.
yeah.
Ah, okay.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. I think that I just want to refresh my mind regarding uh why we didn't merge that RFC and stuff. So I
I'll
will
have
take
to
a look.
reread this. You know,
Yeah.
Emily had some strong convictions here that Lifecycle shouldn't be aware of the annotations, which I'll have to give it some thought on why that would be a uh, a stance that you would be strongly behind. I guess it's just OCI things, so I'll have to think about that because I don't mind the idea that like build packs can do this. Like you know, she
Yeah.
called that out here as well. So I'll um I'll have to give that some thought.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I think that Natalie mentioned something like, okay, we pack can include like some inline build packs during the build if you want to add those stuff and keep it in that way. But I will need to take a look too. Okay, I will appreciate if you can give me some thoughts about
Okay.
it.
Who wrote this next question for
Oh,
build
that's
pack
me.
review process? Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. This is a learn a little bit about stuff. Um, we're working on a collection of build packs. Um, obviously, you know, as anybody should. And I was curious, and I was looking up, and there's a little bit of vagueness, like on the build pack registry page. Reach out about Slack if you want to push this or do something there. But I was taking a step back from it and asking, like, is there a process or like a reference that I can find that I just haven't found yet? That's like if you want to um, verify that this build pack meets certain standards or does whatever else, almost like a checklist of things, or if there is an informal review process to like have you guys walk through the build pack or something there. I'm trying to kind of get out ahead of is there a process for that or guidelines around making sure that this build pack is actually conformant with cloud native build packs, blah blah blah.
Yeah, there's definitely nothing like that that I'm aware of as far as like looking that deeply at like what a build pack does.
Okay.
Or anything. The only part that I'm vaguely aware of, and I'm sure Terrence or Joe can hop in here, but like when you do the build pack publishing to the registry, there's some like ownership first to claim a namespace sort of stuff that goes on, and like, that sort of stuff, right? Like you can't claim Google, like even if they don't have a build pack, thing. But I can't remember how all that works. But that's the only sort of part where I think we're involved, is like making sure that the namespaces are uh, distributed in a certain way.
Cool. Sounds good. I figured the rest was kind of go through and self-attest against or self-assess against the specs and everything else. But
Yeah,
sounds
the
good.
spec's mostly there to protect ourselves from like being forced to keep backwards compatible changes. Like, like if you decide to make a build pack that just completely violates spec and you want to use it for all of eternity, that's fine. But, if you come back and we have broken it, then, and it's, because of a spec violation, then we're just not going to fix it, I think is kind of how I treat the spec. It's not something that we go out and kind of like, mark good or bad build packs in that case.
Yeah, cool.
Is there
That's
anything
good.
you'd
That
want
was
to
it.
add to that, Terrence, or anything kind of you're more spec focused than I am?
That's why you make me do the spec finalized stuff.
Mhm.
No, I think that's about right. Like a lot of the review process is mostly to for attestation kind of things, that you are who you say you are kind of thing. And
Mhm.
um I think if we were to manually review each build pack, that it's just it doesn't scale very well for us to
Oh yeah,
send.
100%. 100%. Yeah, my line of thinking was kind of like, how do I we're doing a lot of work with a bunch of the different hardened image providers and the Wild West that crap is right now, and trying to more deeply understand if we wanted to provide a hardened image, what does hardened mean? Like, what does SLA mean in those cases? What kind of information do we need to provide for attestation or for whatever else to prove we're doing things the right way? And there's just a lot of like vagary and no, there's no guidance for like what makes a good container image for those groups. It's like, oh, well, did you build on Wolfie or something like, and that's just not that's not enough for me. So a lot of my work right now is going and trying to figure that out. But then also there is, I'm anticipating and I'm hearing the desire to have the hardened build packs, right? And some things there. So part of this is staying out in front of, how can we evaluate a build pack to say this is good, like it's a good build pack according to the standards that have been set by cloud native build packs, and then additionally evaluate some of the other parameters and things about hardening, and that could be build tool chain and some other things. So it's on mind, and I'm kind of watching the RFC for the layers. I just haven't had a chance. I haven't had enough time to devote to that yet, but things are going to line up. And then I have to write an update to my Linux Foundation course for automating signing and attestation, and I want to add build packs to that in like February, March, to get out ahead of that, like timing wise.
Nice.
So like just some cool things there, but just to give a little bit more context of where the thought process is coming for that. So I just want to be able to step back and say, hey, this build pack is a good build pack, and trying to figure out how do I determine this is a good build pack before I push it. So sounds good.
For is the CNCF platform gonna do a thing around hardened images like broadly? Is that
There's interest, but it's mainly what I'm anticipating for the spring is the build packs ideally are going to be on the tech radar for platform engineering as an today, based on the surveys we've done, it's a interested in or like on radar, like folks are looking at it closely. And because those other things are super important to teams right now, like platform teams are being told, go figure out how to get hardened images. It's like breaking everybody's development processes and things right now, like pull them out of it just to go work on that stuff. So that's kind of why I'm staying out ahead of that for for our stuff as well in our build pack based project and those things is um, as soon as it feels like that's going to be an adoptability blocker if we don't have a little bit more information about hardened build packs, or like what does good build pack mean as people try to go say what does good container mean, and some things there, especially with the complexity that gets introduced by build packs. There's just a lot of build pack foo that happens and people have to go learn about it. So just thinking about it top of mind. And I figured you may have a list, or you may have some sort of spec walkthrough or something like that, or if just following the guides closely on the how-to for package a build packer extension and some of those things is enough, then that's enough. So totally cool with it, but hoping to help provide some feedback as we go over the next several months anyway. From the to piggyback on that a little bit, I was going to add a comment about it and I just hadn't thought about it. I did want to invite you guys to present on build packs to the platform engineering community. And we've got a number of different like dates and things to do that, but just wanted to offer that up to you guys if you wanted to come talk about build packs or do whatever you want. The idea behind that is we're trying to bring in CNCF projects and other related open source projects. Doesn't have to be CNCF. We're just trying to keep a focus on that to talk about a platform engineering perspective, either as a provider or as a user of this technology. How can we as platform engineers position this technology to provide value to our users? And then also to what do we need to know for management of the capability of providing build packs as an option in the workflows for our consuming teams. And so like that's just a bit of knowledge share more than it is like please come use the tools. But up to you guys. Wanted to extend the invite.
Yeah, I think we'd be more than happy to participate and get marketing for build packs, of course, and actually people hopefully get value out of it. So yeah, I guess let us
Awesome.
know, or happy to coordinate whenever.
Is there a best Slack channel to do that in? Like obviously in well, I guess I joined the Paketo workspace, but like I guess in CNCF, I'd just go to build packs and just put
Yeah, either build packs or build pack maintainers.
Yeah.
Either
Oh,
of
okay.
those two
I'll hit
channels.
build pack maintainers. I didn't have that one added. Sounds good. Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we as a group have actually talking about hardened build packs or what that means. I don't know if there's like a spec or other things for hardened images. And
There kind of isn't. It's all nebulous. So I wouldn't get too caught up on it,
okay.
if that makes sense. People are gonna have to go through and say, the tool that we're using in this layer, which, is not using or is using the proper cryptographic libraries and blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's kind of up to the build pack creators to make them hardened or to attest that. Um, but on the other side, I was kind of walking back to like, I can go do that and I can produce the SBOMs and, do all those things. But going back, it's like, well, I'm new to build packs. And so how do I know that this is a good build pack or that this is following spec? Was kind of I didn't find super clear language on that. And it doesn't have to be like you won't get approved to be in if it isn't good. It's just kind of like these are the principles that we follow. And if you hit these bullet points, then it's a good build pack. And that will let me as an adopter go evaluate somebody's build pack and say, well, do you hit these points? And there's just a little bit of glue there that I was looking for. That I totally understand if that's not a thing yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be curious what you come up with, or happy to, work with you on that in this group. I think we've historically relied heavily on basically the vendors who are providing the things to kind of set standards for that. Partially because I think like Pivotal / VMware / Broadcom at the time had different things from the Heroku folks and different from like Google people who wanted basically setting those things. But I also think like hardened images, obviously people cared about them, but it wasn't a buzzword, I think, as much until kind of the Wolfie stuff came out.
Yeah, it's like a flag that's way out ahead that is pointing people in the right direction more so than it is like we need hardened stuff now.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, I guess I'm curious if if stuff like something like salsa or something will kind of turn up around what it means to have a good container image.
Yeah, I mean that and Salsa will define the build environment, but it
Yeah.
doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. They're probably going to take a loose. I don't expect them to take a stance on like what's a good container
Yeah, that
look
feels
like,
out of
but
their
totally.
wheelhouse. Because they're much more.
Yeah. Maybe a good example to a degree, and this is just challenging in the whole industry right now, is like if I'm gonna go get my um if I'm using like a Redis image and I'm either getting it from Bitnami or Bitnami Legacy or from ChainGuard or from RapidFort or from Docker hardened or from SUSE or from whoever. It's like my challenge as an adopter is like which one's actually going to work? Like are they all functioning properly? Is it based on, what Redis project folks say, image, it's almost like you have to look to they almost want to look toward to cloud native build packs to be able to give them some level of neutrality to say if I have to get off of Paketo and move to something else or move from something else to Paketo, can I? It's a challenging kind of problem. But to me, it's like it's functional to that degree. It's like being able to tell somehow if there's a level of contact to the expected specs because there is flexibility here, how do I evaluate that, this thing meets a certain functionality pieces or, however you want to say that.
Yeah.
Um,
And
it's
we've
not a
only
problem to
really,
solve for today. It's just something I was like, I wonder if they've got something for that puts me
yeah,
in a
this comes
direction
up
for
a
that.
lot. I mean, like folks are like, evaluating build packs for the first time and they either find Paketo or Heroku first, and then they kind of run into some sort of wall and their immediate sort of uh, they reach for like trying a different build pack to see if it solves it, and sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But
Mm-hmm.
that sort of is exactly what you're talking about. It didn't work for my node app. Let me try this Heroku build pack, and then it does work, and it's not really an indication of compatibility or anything, but it's just sort of what they do. Even though they're both targeting I build node apps, but in completely different ways. A lot of times
Yeah.
with completely different sets of guardrails to make sure that the experience matches whatever platform it's primarily sort of aiming towards, whether that's like interactive users using pack or like a behind the scenes thing that they should never really see. So yeah, I don't it's been tough to kind of figure out what users expect versus what we want. Each build pack has so much flexibility that's just hard to really.
Oh, 100%. And we want more responsibility for the maintainers.
Yeah,
I totally
exactly.
get it.
Yeah.
Cool. I appreciate the insight on it. I didn't mean to drag us into that.
And we did do some of this. Like we have the idea of like base images that build packs can target, so that you can at least say this build pack meets it is targeting this particular type of base image, Ubuntu 2404 or something like that, right? And then write your build pack against that. Someone else can write their build pack against that, so at least we have some level of build pack defined conformance for a base image, so that you can to move to a hardened version of that, and it
Hmm.
should still work, right? So
Right, right.
you have some of that. All right, that is the last bit on the agenda. Are there any last minute questions or agenda items people want to hop into?
Uh,
Go ahead, Tom.
I was just gonna say, I know we got a new person join the meeting, so I don't know if David
Oh,
had stuff that David wanted
No,
to bring up or talk about.
no, I work with Colin at Crumware, and just going to be trying to join some of these calls, get some more insight, and I work on Opinio. I've started kind of re-educating myself on build packs because with Opinio it was kind of just Paketo and it kind of just worked, but there seems to be a lot of options out there and things are changing. So um, yeah, um, really just going to be kind of observing and trying to learn some new stuff.
Yeah, we're good. We're going to try to get more folks in here regularly. Can you remind us the like so the meetings are you kind of alternating time zones? It's right there in the meeting notes. I guess there is every first and third Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern, and every second and fourth Thursday at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. So we're trying to get some of our folks to participate more regularly and get in here and start contributing and you know working on the project, trying to help you guys keep things healthy and we want to be good stewards like we should, obviously. Not just
awesome.
consumers, doers.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I
Thank you.
assume we should probably, I don't know how to remove this, but like if someone has access to
Yeah.
it, we're not going to meet on Christmas. So that one's not true.
Yeah.
I mean,
The
we're
other
welcome to
one,
come
January
talk amongst
1st.
yourselves, but yeah. Oh, it's the other one on January 1st. Yeah, nice. Yeah, those are almost those last two in the end of year and beginning of year are probably not accurate.
I did have a question, I guess, for the Chrome folks, since you all are using build packs and prod somewhere. I
Yeah.
don't know if we've reached out to you all about uh the graduation. As part of graduation, they want to interview folks who are actually using build packs,
Oh
and
yeah.
make sure. I don't know if you all wanted to be included in that
We're pretty
process.
new to it, but we do have
Okay.
them in prod. But we're also, to be honest, we might be an interesting one because we're not only this is kind of some beef I almost have with the CNCF where there's too much divide between what's an end user versus like what's a project or a vendor. Um, we're kind of both. It's all dog food for us, right? So we're using them, but we're also building tools to help use them, if that makes sense. That's where Appenio comes in as a project. So, if it might be helpful for us to help talk about the importance of us or of build packs to us from both a vendor and end user perspective, I guess. So if that helps provide some extra value, certainly mention that. But yeah, happy to talk to folks for you.
Yeah, I actually think, I mean, Salesforce/Heroku is also in a similar boat. And we struggled a lot as a spec first project on, like, I think most of our incubation stuff that I was leading through was defining end user to the TOC.
Yeah.
What is an end user for build packs? Is it the people who build the platforms, or is it the customer of the platform, right?
And we say yes. It's like it's all of the above. That's a
Yeah.
big area of focus for the platform engineering TCG. And we're going to be talking about that a lot in the white paper updates and the maturity model updates. It's like our job to be able to find who our users are, but if we're adopting tools and provide like using them to provide capabilities to people, then if a capability is, well, make your own build pack and then host it here. There's a registry that we're hosting, and here's how you push it, and here's how you make your build pack conformance to spec and blah blah blah, like all the stuff that we're kind of asking about. yeah, end users are users. Platform engineers are users. I mean, everybody are users, and
Yeah.
I dislike that I think it's just evolving, and I don't want to say that I dislike in like a negative thing. I just kind of disagree with the current standing that it's one or the other, and not, you can have many types of users, or your users that use things different ways. And so like they're all users. I wish was more acceptable. There was a lot of argument about that with when the TOC did the restructure of the tags, and we were kind of told that platform engineering is not a technical domain, and I think most of us would really strongly disagree with that. But I understand the perspective and the people who strongly feel that way. And so we had to do a lot of work and energy to define exactly what you're talking about, and that's where we we've kind of been positioned as a TCG to almost liaison between the projects and the end user tab with a B, um, because of that social and technical challenge and that ability to define who's an end user and how do they use it and all that. For us with our Pinio project, we are specifically focused on the idea that we have two primary user groups. It's like the people using build packs and the people providing the ability to use build packs. Both are end users. So it's the platform engineers and the developers, or let's just say technical people who are writing code or doing automations or whatever else, right? That expanded definition of developer. So Apinio wants to be focused, is moving to be focused on providing a better kind of build pack and application definition management experience and catalog management experience for platform engineers to provide and connect capabilities to developers, where build packs is a core piece of how applications are packaged and delivered, right? If that makes sense. So it's
That
very
makes
hot on
sense.
mind, very hot on mind.
Yeah. I do wonder if there's like some white paper or something as you're kind of going through best practices that like when you like what it means to have good container image practices, whether that's a hardened image or not, and like I guess what build packs kind of bring to the table for that. Um, like
Yeah,
I just think like by default you generally get stuff like rebase. I mean obviously you can build things in a
right.
way that that is not true, but I think that like that's not like the only thing, but I do think like the day two operations for a lot of the container world is like pretty awful, honestly, and what it pushes platform teams to basically take on, right?
Yeah, and every platform team is a bit different, and it all stems from, like, people aren't yet starting from zero and like going out and saying, we're going to build a platform team from scratch. Let me seed this specifically. Like, let me build this ideal platform team. Companies haven't really figured that out yet. They're still going and saying, well, hey, you were a pretty smart DevOps person. You're a platform engineer now. Hey, you were a pretty smart security person who built an automation. You're a platform person now. They kind of, the teams evolve, and so there's still a lot of ambiguity about how things get managed, but those skill sets translate. And like, you'll get a really smart security person who has learned how to run a container image scan with Trivy in a CI/CD pipeline, and like, so that's where their skill set focuses first. So suddenly that's the type of experience or thing that they're looking for, and they're going to be thinking about, well, how do I treat build packs like containers, and how do I scan them? It's like the perspective of their skill set affects the way that they look at this stuff. So it's a really complicated, um it's a really complex challenge to communicate this in all the right ways to all the different stakeholders. But I think that's a really interesting kind of topic, and that was almost like why I was looking for pack look like, almost from a high level 10 bullet points kind of thing. So one, it gives us a, you know, it's one thing to go read all the specs and learn all the specs. It's another thing to kind of start somewhere and say, okay, well, this is how I need to build this build pack. Now let me go read the specs. But if I could say, yes, this build pack, meets all of these things, I'm putting my vendor stamp of approval on it, and I need to track and make sure this stays up to date with the build pack project, and yada yada. It gives me a traction point. But yeah, it's the container world is still evolving. The tooling all sucks, and there's 1,000 different ways to do a particular thing, but it still is out ahead of where build packs is, in the sense that containers have already gone through this life cycle of being mistrusted and misunderstood, to now point of commoditization, where people think, oh, it's a container, I can run my tools against it. Like, containers are acceptable. Build packs is kind of entering that domain now, where people are looking at it and they're like, well, there's some magic happening and there's some ambiguity. Is anybody else using build packs? Is this trustable? Is it, is this a safe way to do things? Am I in the Wild West, or am I copying the ways that other people are doing that are proven? It feels like it's kind of in that spot. So there's going to be a lot of, I think, if we go back through, like you're saying, if there was a white paper that talked about those practices with contain, how they are relevant to build packs, it may help build some social and technical understanding behind what build packs are, or maybe provide some extra guidance on, hey, this build pack is 2 gigabytes when the node base image is, 100 megabytes. Why? What's going on? How do you do that? It's like the things that people are looking for. Anyway, hope that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we definitely haven't put a lot of time and effort into, I think, that piece, mostly just because the initial target audiences were people who already bought in on build packs. But it is I think, evolving thing that we deal and struggle with for marketing build packs as well.
It's just a natural maturity point. So it's coming up, which is that's a good sign. Yeah, so we're excited about it, and we are trying to answer some of these questions for ourselves as well. And if we want people to adopt our project, which is providing the ability to consume and use build packs, then we need to know these things and help work these things out too. So I think that'll be a good area of contribution for us too. And it's a great way to get my team more deeply involved in open source projects. Yeah, the brilliant thing we do have working for us is that it's so easy to say, if we're trying to convince somebody to use build packs, we say, well, Heroku does it, Salesforce, right? Netlify, right? Like, all these guys, I don't probably Vercel, I don't know. These are the folks that are using this behind the scenes to run your production applications that you already argued with me over self-hosted versus cloud hosted. Why wouldn't you use the same tools? So that builds a tremendous amount of trust, and then we just have to backfill with the technical proof, or the it does work level proof. I appreciate it. That's fun to talk about.
Glad someone's deeply thinking about all this. It's good to hear.
Cool. Yeah, happy to kind of collaborate on that more, I guess, as you all get further along on it. Anything else, I guess, for the last 15 or so minutes.
No, I don't have anything else. Just heads up with I will be removing the Ekinex runner from pack. I already told Joe that we can do it, so I will be doing that.
What is
and
the
then
Windows path after that?
I have to think about it, how we're gonna run like this test on Linux, on Windows running Linux containers. But for now, I will just remove the runner because they are gonna, drop it. So I have that. Then I will work on the moving forward with the features we have once the spec releases are out. Yeah, let's see.
Does that mean we can't cut new pack releases until we figure that out?
No, I already caught the 039.1, which
One.
was fixing an issue that Paketo had on their CI. Then I will just move that. I'm gonna remove the runner. That we will have the ability to cut new releases after that. That's okay. But I will need to think how we're gonna do moving forward after I remove the runner, how we're gonna test, if we wanna test, run the test on Windows using Linux containers. Because that's not easy to replace. Also because Docker has new licensed stuff and they do not
Yeah.
allow you to install Docker on Windows servers. And if you use like a VM running Windows desktop, then you need a license and stuff like that. So it's not easy.
We're
It might be
building
worth
Linux
just opening a service desk ticket, Juan, and asking
Okay.
what options
I was going
they
to say that
will.
we should probably minimally reduce the tests that we run for Windows. So, since we're still building Linux containers, we're not trying to test whether Docker can
Yeah.
do Linux things. I think we should probably consider just making sure like smoke test pack can talk to a Windows Docker. Like, can it, is the Docker client set up correctly? Like a very small, set of this is the glue between pack and Docker, and it happens to be running on Windows, and make sure that works. Like, it seems unlikely that we're going to have issues beyond that. Like, as long as the Docker API client is
Yeah.
connectable to pack, then I don't really think we need to get into the weeds of like, is it running Linux or not? Because we know it's only going to be running Linux, and we already
Yeah.
are testing that on another runner.
Yeah.
That would be my opinion on like a.
Okay. Okay. I will explore that way and see what we need to do. And okay, good. Yeah, that's all
I
from my
mean,
side.
those smoke tests will require you to have that set up though.
Yeah.
You still have to have Docker, but not. Yeah, you don't. Even, it doesn't even matter if it's in Linux mode. Is my point. Like if there's Docker in Windows mode, like you don't actually have to run a build, but you can run, some set of like pack inspect image, and see whether it communicates properly. Like do the minimal amount of like glue tests there, and not whether it actually does anything build packs related in Windows mode, since we don't support that. Even a test that says, hey, pack says it's unsupported in Windows mode is like enough to prove that pack talks to Docker to figure out that it's in a mode that we don't support, if that makes sense. Because if we can get a runner with Docker on it that is in Windows mode, that still gives us a valid Docker API client to talk to, and enough validity to know that we can talk to it successfully and that it's in the wrong mode, which is like okay, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I see. I got it. Okay. I will keep you up to date with that.
Once we get the spec stuff cut, it's just about cutting new releases for lifecycle and pack.
Yeah, I think I will need just to revisit my PR on pack once Jesse also released the life cycle part. And that's it, because I think we already tested that. I just need to revisit that PR, and I can't cut.
Yeah, I think it's just cutting a lifecycle release. There might be a dependabot or something that I need to get merged in before, there's always something to merge in. So I
There's
think
always
there might
some
be
Go
some-
update.
Yeah, exactly. There's always some sort of library update. So there's probably at least one more PR that will be need to be merged out there. But as far as I know, it's basically just cutting a release.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna bump lifecycle up a version. So I think we're like 20 or 21 right now. So it'll be 22 or 21, whichever one that we're not
21,
using.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Since it's a new platform version.
Okay. Yeah, I guess let me know for
Yeah, I'm gonna
reviews
look at
from the
that
two of
PR
you.
now. Yep.
We can get that going this week.
All right. Thanks.
Cool. Thanks, y'all.
Cool.